right, Curtis, tell us a little bit about REDX. I don't know if anybody knows like when this all got started and why. Can you tell me that first?
And by this, you mean REDX, or you mean
REDX,
this
yeah.
this
REDX,
virtual event?
REDX in
Yeah.
general.
Okay.
REDX in general.
That's a great question. So, and it's a great question to start because I think that over 50% of the people who registered for the event were not part of our regular mailing list or not part of weren't associated with us yet, which is pretty exciting for us. So REDX has been around since 2003. So we've been here through a whole bunch of different markets that I hope we're going to get into and start talking about here pretty soon. We started with this concept of helping agents increase their personal production. It was all about helping agents grow and get clients and get business. And we started with expireds, and a lot of people know us as an expired and FSBO company. We're so much more and so much bigger and have grown so much further beyond those two lead types. Although we do a lot with expireds, we do a lot with FSBOs, we do a lot with foreclosures and other lead types. But everything that we do, and including this event, including what we're trying to do on with the Facebook group, the lead gen conversation, which is where this is kind of airing and originating, is all about helping agents increase their personal production by getting new clients, by getting new business. So that's where we started. That's our purpose. That's what we're trying to do.
Nice, man. Nice. I remember the very first time I heard about REDX was at an event, and they said, go to the back, sign up for REDX. So I did. And then I haven't stopped since, which is an interesting thing. I have a question because part of the products that you have are also integrated in different ways through different markets. And we're in the middle of a shift in some markets more than others. In some markets, dude, like Miami, there is no shift, right? But in other markets, like parts of Utah, there are some homes, new construction, that have been sitting there for a little bit longer than normal. And now it's starting to make some people get a little concerned. So how is it that we can use REDX right now? That's number one. And number two, what are you bringing into the near future with tech and where REDX is going?
That's a great questions. I think talking about the market shift is really interesting. In fact, right before I jumped on, I was doing a little more research and I was pulling even just from Google Trends, which if you don't know is you can go in and see how many people are searching certain keywords. Mm-hmm. And if you look at expireds or expired listings or expired leads, it was pretty constant over the last 5 years or so until March of 2020. And then the interest in expired listings plummeted, which is really interesting. And this is a March, April of 2020. And the reason is the market started to get really, really hot. Yep. And so people don't have to go out and figure things, they don't have to go hunt as nearly as much as they normally do. In fact, at T360, the event not long ago, somebody on stage said, a lot of agents think they're getting burned out right now because their offers aren't getting accepted. They're having to, they're not getting listings. He goes, the problem is a lot of agents are going to go from burnt out to broke because nobody has learned how to hunt in the last 2 years. Nobody's learned how to proactively go out and build their own inventory. They've just kind of it's been about passive reception. If you're an agent, business has just, kind of come for a lot of people. And people haven't learned how to hunt. Well, if you look at those Google Trends, the interest dropped tremendously until about 90 days ago. And it's starting to go back up because, and we're starting to get emails from past customers that are going, okay, I put everything on hold for the last 2 years, but man, I got to start calling again.
That's interesting.
And already we're seeing in some of those markets, not every market, and in some places it's people anticipating a market shift and going, well, I better hone my skills now. I better get back to what I'm doing now. And it's not just expireds. This has to do with FSBOs, vacant rental properties, and trying to get those sold, and building that listing inventory. It's about pre-foreclosures and a lot of that coming back in a lot of areas. The moratorium is something of the past, and we're starting to see foreclosures ramp up in certain areas, which is crazy because nobody's short selling right now. Nobody's underwater in the country. So foreclosures are yeah, foreclosures are really different lead to prospect than when we first launched it in 2008, right? And even circle prospecting is that people are going, okay, now I've got to go and be more proactive about talking to a whole bunch of people I don't know to get more people in my database, to nurture more relationships that will develop into more transactions. So,
dude, I love that. That's actually really good because you're bringing up some things that we're thinking, right? And that some of us are seeing, but really can't put words to. So I love that. I want to really quickly see if I can show the back end of REDX so that when people visualize what the options are, whether to call expireds for sell by owners, geo leads, or for rent by owners, right? Those are good. Will you call them furbos or furbies? I forgot.
Furbos.
Furbies are the little creature. I get confused.
I love Furbies. I'm going to use that.
You know you love Furbies.
Great. Yes, Furby.
All right, here we go. This is the back end. Expireds, geoleads, FSBOs, Furbies.
Yeah, let me talk about Furbies here for a second.
Sure, shoot.
For rent by owner, honestly, if I'm making a public admission here, was really probably poorly branded because they are rentals, but these are vacant rentals. These are people who are not managed by a property management company or trying to find a tenant for their home. In many, many cases, they are not real estate investors. They're somebody who have one property that they rent out and they do all the management of that property. They're an amazing listing opportunity because some of these people have no idea the equity position that they're sitting on. And as soon as it's like, hey, if I could show you how to put tons of money in your pocket without you having the hassle of trying to rent this thing out anymore, would you sit down for 15 minutes? And the answer is always yes.
Of course,
so those are a great listing opportunity. And worst case, they want to keep it. They want to buy more rentals, in which case, great, put them in your database as an investor and make sure every good deal you market to them.
Yeah, very. And look, also Airbnb too. I love that.
That's right.
That's a really good point. Terry's asking, where will this recording be posted? Everyone who's listening to this or registered will also get a copy of the recording. And yeah, Chuck, Furbies are the best way to go. Curtis, we're going to just change it to Furbies.
As if the branding wasn't bad enough, non-descriptive of what they really are. We'll just go. Yeah, we'll go ahead and call them Furbies.
We just need yeah. Is that company still around? Will we get sued if we have a Furby shirt?
I'm sure we will, but until that cease and desist letter comes, Tristan, you'll be okay.
Oh, that's the best. All right. So the market's softening up in some areas. We're seeing there's no bubble, there's no crash, right? But we are seeing it even out, and it's regional, right? So I think that's one thing that agents as well as the consumer has to understand, that it's very regional. If you remember 2007, 2008, Texas wasn't hit at all. Like we're fine in Texas. I'm not in Texas, I'm in California, but I'm saying, hey, we're fine in Texas. And then all of a sudden during the pandemic, the people that were leaving LA were going to Idaho, Texas, Las Vegas, Phoenix. And now they have an influx of people. And some people are saying, hey, look, there was a massive influx of people over here that drove the prices even higher, as well as inflation higher than the number that came out. What was that, 8.5%? So they're a little concerned. And this is why it's regional, right? This is all regional. But this is why I love REDX, dude, because you kind of control that prospecting aspect of this and say, hey, look, I'm going to just routinely call. If I don't have anybody, I can call Furbies, right? For rent by owners. I can call anybody I want. If I have a listing, I'm going to be calling all of the people that live around here to let them know about it. And if I have a buyer that just can't find the right home, I'm going to be calling those people around the neighborhood to see if I can get more business. And I think this is where it starts shifting for us, because expireds was kind of tough. in previous market we were in, right?
So
and for sale by owners,
let me jump in there, Tristan, because I think a lot of people, you know, we heard the same thing in 2004. This is how long we've been around. 2004, 2005, everybody said there's no expireds. Everything is selling. Well, I'll bet most people would be surprised to hear that, you know, we sold just over 6 million homes in 2021. There were 1.49 expired listings that happened in 2021.
Damn, bro.
Right. So when you look at how many are expiring, there are still a lot. In fact, the challenge would be go to your MLS and go pull from January 1 of 2022 to date and see how many expired listings happened in your marketplace. Because there, and that's not counting, depending on the MLS you're in, you might want to work canceled or withdrawn, right? So there's still a tremendous amount of expires, and not to mention old expires, right? You pull 3 years back and there's a lot of people that still haven't sold, but maybe the price expectation they had finally caught up to the market and now it will sell. So anyway, I just had to jump in there because I know you say expires was tough, and I go, but a lot of that was perception depending on what market that you were in. There were still expireds happening.
You're so right, man. It is very, again, going back to the regional part, you are so right. It also applies to expireds. But now in the more metropolitan areas that were having that high drive as well, and those newer areas that people wouldn't move to before as much, Boise, Idaho, right? It's like, who knew? Like those places now are going to have a little more expireds because they started up here in pricing and now they're slowly coming down to more of a realistic price.
Right. Yep.
And some agents don't know how to handle that. So this is why I love our conversations today. Somebody asked for scripts. I'm surprised there are not 2 on Tristan's shelves for everything. Oh, Furbies? Are you talking about Furbies? We might need a Furby behind me, Curtis, and behind the REDX here. That's a really good idea. I think we need, and Andy, while we have Andy, we just need to throw Furbies over there. I have scripts, so I'm going to dump them in here. We use them when we're dialing REDX, so expires, for sale by owners, geo. And if you have some as well, Curtis, throw them on here, or anybody on the team. They're free. Here you go. And it's part of this whole REDX experience. All right, dude. So what are you excited about in the next few months coming out from REDX?
So I'm really excited about, everything. Let me back up and just talk about business for a second. There's really only 2 ways to build business. And since we're about helping increase, you know, your individual agent production, and by helping them find new clients, there's only 2 ways that an agent builds a business. You either hunt or you farm, right? Some people call it paid or organic. This is how you generate business. And in the business term would be, you have brand and reputation, right? Or you advertise and market, right? There's a hunt or farm feel to business always. REDX historically has always been on the hunt side, really.
Yes.
And the hunt side, which feeds the long-term, right? Business builders, people like Andy, who prospect with REDX. It's not just about calling to get a listing, it's calling to get a relationship that you put in your database. So we've been heavy on the hunt side.
Yep.
Somewhat on the farm side. And then, you know, we launched geo leads and circle prospecting, and more talk to people you don't know to get to know them and put them in your database and build relationships. But recently we launched a very organic side of the business. It's called Brand Builder. It's all about helping people build their brand and reputation, which allows the hunting to be easier. Right? You can continue to hunt, but if you also have a reputation, it's more like hunting in, fenced in, hunting area. Right.
Dude, I think you do both. You're hunting and you're attracting.
Exactly. And so if you are building a brand and reputation, the calls get so much easier. I mean, how much easier when you call somebody and they go, "Oh, Tristan, I think I've seen your stuff. Like, you're a real estate agent." You've
Yep.
already broken the ice. You're already building that. So, the more brand and reputation you can build, the easier your prospecting becomes. And
So
so
true.
we've launched Brand Builder, and Tristan, I mean, it's, you know what we're doing because you've been doing this for so long. Is we're helping people take who they are and their personal brand and their business brand, and getting raw videos from them, splicing it up into a whole bunch of content and populating their social media feeds to allow people to observe them at high scale. And the more people
Dude.
observe you, the more reputation and brand you build. So that's the most recent exciting product that we have to help people increase their production. But along with that is social media. There's even within social media, there's a hunting and a farming techniques. There's brand and there's advertising. And so you'll see this summer built into the platform more and more social media tools to be able to do paid advertising, to create those ads, to create custom audiences so that you can target the leads that you have inside of your REDX Vortex and on different social media platforms, coupled with the organic side. And part of that organic side too is your sphere of influence. And so, Tristan, you've seen behind the curtains and seen that. So has Andy of some of the tools that we have coming, that we have, about 1,000 agents using and beta testing for us right now, to be able to better work your sphere of influence in a way that allows you to have influence over your sphere, which is brand and reputation, but turns into more transactions. So REDX's future really is so much more than expireds or FSBOs or pre-foreclosures or the big data aspect of everything we do. It's really about these two areas of your business on the top of the funnel, so to speak, of brand and reputation and how that attracts business, and all of the business that you proactively go after and go get.
Dude, you gave me an idea here as you're talking, because I never really pieced both together until you brought it up that way. And that was the hunter and the attractor, right? On the brand side, they've been around for a while, but because I've done both, I realized that on the attractor side, you really become more attractive the more you practice the hunting side. And this is on the REDX. Like, I'm picking up the phone, I'm still calling. I know what to say because I've been doing this for so long, and I practice it, right? The hunting part, right? The explaining, I'm not talking about spamming or sounding salesy. I'm talking about giving the facts, connecting with people, making those relationships. Once people connect with you, it's like, oh, right. And that's the attracting part that I'm talking about, because that will become visible the more you show that part on social, right? Whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you go. So I love that connection. Yeah. And for those of you who are looking down in the chat, ooh, dude, Matthew, hunting helps habits. Or that's awesome. I love that. Hunting, consistently hunting creates habits, the right habits. Here you go. Together we can do it. Scripts. So I threw in my scripts. Mark Anthony Reese threw in the REDX scripts, grab them there. He just did that. And then Andy Rosas also threw in the scripts, habitguys.com/free. All three links are there. We'll include that into the replay email, so you have all three of those. And Curtis, you mentioned Google Trends. There were a few questions on Google Trends.
Okay.
I use Google Trends almost daily. Yesterday, I noticed that what was trending was what happened in Texas, but also like sports. A lot of sports trend on Google, which is interesting. But you mentioned housing. When you looked up housing specifically, what was trending there?
So that's a great question. You should go and look, because depending on the timeframes you're looking at, I can't answer it because I was specifically looking at expireds, distressed properties, things like that. And I would, what's trending, what's showing an increase in interest across the board is hunting techniques in real estate. So, and you can choose by category, whether it's trending for real estate in general or real estate agencies, agents and brokers. You can kind of drill down inside of Google Trends to see where those keywords are trending. And if you drill down, what across the board, what is trending with real estate agents and brokers is an increased interest in, oh man, I now need to be far more proactive about my business because of what people are seeing and anticipating in the marketplace.
Okay, I like that, dude. And if you can look up, people can look up housing crash on Google Trends. I just put it on there so you can understand what the consumer is worried about. And you see, I just did it. You'll see a slight curve going up and spikes, right? And you don't see that. You don't see that 3 years before. This is the concern. So this is the language we need to use, and also bring a form of calmness to the situation so that more people understand that as it currently stands, there is no crash. It's more like an even in most areas, right? Not in all areas. And so we have to stay on top of this stuff. Like I'm looking at the top states that have the word crash on Google Trends, and it's Idaho, Utah, Arizona, New Hampshire, Nevada. Those are the top 5.
Which is crazy because those, I mean, in 2008 here in Utah, we didn't see huge price decreases because we never experienced huge upticks either. We were like, 4% annually where everybody else was doing much better. But as everybody has come in and Silicon Slopes and all the tech companies coming in, our medium home price went from 300 to 600 really fast. And yeah, most of us here are like, I know everybody says there's no crash, but it's hard to wrap your head around the price increases. My house in 8 years is 5 times is worth 5 times what I bought it for.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, look, guys, use Google Trends to identify topics that are trending. So when you do go on social, you know what to talk about that matches what the consumer is concerned about. Like if I'm looking it up right now, I'm finding related queries. What is a housing bubble 2022? Are we in a housing bubble 2022? Dallas Fed housing bubble. These are the things that people are typing in. So why not use them in your Instagram lives or shorts or TikToks or YouTubes, everything else.
Curtis, which is our brand builder product, right? We help you with the topics. Exactly. We give you prompts on what to make those videos about, and then we professionally edit, add the captions, and send that out to everybody. So because again, you got to be talking about the right things to build the right reputation, which brings you business, but also makes your prospecting that much more effective.
Do we have a link to that, Curtis, or is that not out there for everybody?
So you could go check it out at redx.com/brand builder.
REDX.
And somebody from my team can go ahead and pop that in the chat.
We'll
redx.com. Yeah, /brand builder.
The chat's about to blow up because we're about to give away the backpack. So
all right, let's do it.
Let me give you the rules really quick, everyone. Tristan, what is your search term subject to get your info on Google Trends? Type in housing crash or housing bubble or just housing or real estate 2022, and then you'll see all the related queries, and then you'll start seeing a spike in some areas, and the graph will gradually go up. This is why if you're following me on YouTube, all I'm talking about is the housing market so that everyone is educated based on the data that's out there and nobody gets scared, because we are seeing a lot of people go nuts.